On the third day of my marriage, I already knew the truth in that house. I wasn't a daughter-in-law. I was a burden they were tolerating. My mother-in-law looked me straight in the eye and said, "You're fine for my son, but you're not good enough for this family." I stayed silent. Why? Because I knew something they didn't, and one day, that one secret was going to shake their entire world. If you've ever hidden your truth just to survive with your dignity intact, this story is for you. Stay until the end, because in the last 2 minutes, I want to talk to you heart to heart. I grew up in a small house, with big love. My father worked hard at least, that's what everyone believed. My mother managed the home with grace, never complaining, even when money was tight. I never asked for luxury, I asked for respect. That's all I ever wanted from my marriage too. When the proposal came from a well-settled, respectable family, my parents were thrilled. My father sat with me one quiet evening before the wedding and said something I'll never forget. "Beta, a family that values you only when they see your wealth will never truly value you. Let them love you for who you are, not for what you have." I didn't fully understand it then. I do now. I walked into my husband's house with hope in my heart and humility in my hands. I thought love and effort would be enough. I was wrong. The taunts started in the very first week. I doubt their house even had air conditioning. My son married beneath himself. You get a daughter-in-law, but you can't change her background. At first, I told myself it was just an adjustment period. Every new bride faces some friction, right? But days turned into weeks, and the comments never stopped, they only got sharper. My husband heard it all. He saw it all. But he never said a word. Maybe he feared his mother. Maybe, deep down, he simply didn't think it was worth the conflict. Either way, I was left to fight my own battles, alone, in a house that was supposed to be my home. So every single day, I quietly proved my worth through extra effort, through silence, through patience I didn't even know I had inside me. One evening, in front of relatives who'd come for dinner, my mother-in-law said with a small laugh, "We always imagined our son marrying into a wealthy family, but I suppose this is what fate had written for us." Everyone chuckled politely. I smiled too, broken inside, calm outside, because there was one secret only I carried. My father, the man this family assumed was just an ordinary man, was actually the quiet force behind one of the city's largest business groups. For years, he had deliberately kept his identity hidden from the public eye. He didn't crave attention, and more importantly, he wanted his daughter's marriage built on love, not leverage. He once told me, holding my hands the night before my wedding, "My daughter, anyone who won't respect you for who you are, won't respect you for what you have either. They'll only bow to fear, not to love. Don't ever use my name as a shield. Let them see your strength first." I held on to those words like a quiet shield of my own. I never once mentioned my father's real status. Not when they insulted my background. Not when they compared me to other richer daughters-in-law in the family. Not even when it hurt enough to bring me to tears at night, alone in my room, biting back the urge to simply say, "You have no idea who you're talking to." I wanted them to respect me, just me. Plain, simple, unfiltered me. They didn't. Then came the night that changed everything. My father-in-law's company was struggling. He needed a major investor to save a deal that could either make or break his business for the next decade. After months of negotiations, a high-profile investment group finally agreed to a meeting at our house, over dinner. The entire family prepared for days. New curtains, imported crockery. My mother-in-law even told me, half mockingly, to stay in the kitchen and not embarrass the family in front of such important guests. I simply nodded. I had no plans of embarrassing anyone. When the investor's name card arrived ahead of the dinner, I watched my father-in-law's face slowly drain of color. He recognized the name immediately. Everyone in business circles did. That investor was my father. When the doorbell rang and my father walked in, dressed simply as always, the entire room rose out of pure respect, almost out of instinct. And when his eyes found me standing quietly near the kitchen door, he smiled and said, loud enough for everyone to hear, "This is my daughter." The room went completely, utterly silent. You should have seen my mother-in-law's face. The same woman who once called me not good enough for this family was now holding a water glass with visibly trembling hands. My father-in-law, the man who built deals for a living, couldn't find a single word to say. In the days that followed, everything changed overnight. Better food, softer words, gentler tones every time they said, "Beta." My mother-in-law even brought home gifts, expensive ones, the kind she'd never once considered for me before. But one evening, when she tried to hug me and said, "Beta, we were only joking before. You know how families are." I finally spoke. "You didn't start respecting me because I changed. You started respecting me because my father suddenly became someone to fear. I'm still the exact same woman I was on day one of this marriage. The only difference is, now you know my worth was never about my father's money. It was always about who I am. And you missed that until fear taught you otherwise." I didn't forgive them that day. Not out of anger, not out of revenge, but because some relationships can't be repaired with a single apology born out of fear, not regret. Some wounds need distance more than they need closure. Today, I'm still married to my husband, but on my own terms now. I speak my mind. I set boundaries. I no longer shrink myself to fit into a house that once made me feel small. My in-laws treat me with visible respect now. They're careful with their words, attentive to my comfort. But the warmth I once tried so hard to earn from them, it's gone. And it's not coming back the same way. Some people only learn to value you when they're afraid of losing something. By the time they do, the love you once offered freely has already quietly left the room. Soften your voice. Speak directly to the camera. This story isn't just my story. It belongs to every woman who has spent years proving she's enough in a home that should have welcomed her without conditions. To every woman who fights for her dignity quietly, hoping anyone would notice. If you've ever felt like you weren't enough, if you've ever had to prove yourself again and again to people who should have simply loved you, write it in the comments. I want to hear your story too. You are not alone in this. And if this story touched something in you, please subscribe to this channel, hit like, and share this with a sister, a friend, or anyone who might need to hear these exact words today. We bring you real, raw, emotional stories every week. Stories of women who stayed quiet, but never once stopped fighting. See you in the next story. Take care of yourself, and never let anyone convince you that you're not enough.